Hello everyone, welcome to Minifigs in Space. Today we are going to be looking at upgrading villains from Space Police 3 in addition to a villain from what I would call Space Police 4. Let's kick off the upgrades with Frenzy. This 4-armed space crook is notorious for stealing gold space credits. In this upgrade, I have swapped out the upper arms with some shoulder pieces from Nexonites, and I added tentacles to all 4 limbs. The upper body part for Frenzy is a fairly unique piece. Keep in mind, this was created before the 4-armed version of Lord Garmadon from LEGO Ninjago. In a way, this part was ahead of its time, but because it came a little bit earlier, there are some limitations for it. For example, the head and the upper body part are one piece, therefore you cannot swivel the head without adjusting the upper arms. The Space Police thought it was hard enough to handcuff a criminal with 4 arms. However, they're basically bringing a sword to a gunfight because he now has 4 tentacles. It is almost impossible to handcuff him now. In my version of the Space Police story world, Frenzy walked close to a nuclear reactor and grew some tentacles where his limbs were. So that is my explanation for his little upgrade. Next up is Snake. I always thought his original design was a little bland, so I wanted to upgrade him into a more sinister, cloaked figure. However, another modification that came to mind was adding a fedora to his head, making him appear a little bit more gangster-like. The weapon I have for him is not my original design. I believe I saw this in a Star Wars set, but I can't remember exactly where. But basically it is a tread section attached to a standard laser gun section. Next up is the infamous Squidman. If you recall, he had a red cape on him originally. In my upgrade, I removed the red cape and added red dragon wings and red diver flippers. I believe that this gives him more of a reptile look while also adding some splashes of color. This is how he looks from the back. One tip I would like to give for posing minifigures with diver flippers is to use this little tile with the bar connection on top. It gives a really good balance and doesn't detract from the general appearance. According to official LEGO Space Police lore, Squidman is a notorious graffiti artist and loves leaving his mark around various sectors in the Space Police precincts. So keeping this in mind, I created a spray paint bottle as an accessory for him. Next up is Jawson. I removed his orange prison suit and replaced it with a more rugged looking wardrobe. I think this suits his tough personality pretty well, especially with the yellow straps on it. I did not add any accessories to him because in Space Police lore, he is really strong and can bite through almost any material. I mean, you really don't need anything more than that if you're that tough. So the outfit I used is from the LEGO City Volcano sub-theme. Jawson's head covers up the logo perfectly, and you cannot tell it is from LEGO City. Next up is Kranxx, the space biker leader of the Black Hole Gang. And in this upgrade, I have simply added a black cloak from, I believe, the Overwatch theme, and some Wolverine claws. The Wolverine claws actually helped in creating some pretty dynamic poses. It was my first time using them, so needless to say, I am a little impressed. Next we have Rench, who is a close relative to Kranxx. In the set he came in, he had no vehicle, so therefore I thought he could use a jetpack accessory. It is a fairly simple design, so I won't bore you with going through the steps on how to build it. However, I will note that if you rotate the flames in 2 different directions, it makes him look more realistic. Next up, we have one of the Skull twins. These 2 twins were known to have the Octam logo on their space jumpsuits, and so therefore I thought it would make sense to have him sabotage flammable substances such as fuel. So I gave him some dynamite accessories and have upgraded his suit to more of a biker jacket look with some flame effects. I added the transparent light blue arm just for fun. I have no logical reason behind it other than I think it looks cool. Next, we have the Space Crook from the collectible minifigure series. He came out at the same time as the Space Police guy, which I consider Space Police 4. But all that aside, for this minifigure, I thought of 2 possible options for upgrades. The first is adding some orange shoulder armor. I think this makes him look a little bit bulkier and more intimidating. The other accessory is actually another oxygen hose piece used for divers. This fits perfectly with his helmet and does not put any strain on any parts. Next up, we have Squidtron. Squidtron is actually not an alien per se. He is a robot invented by Squidman himself. and he went rogue and goes against Squidman's wishes. For Squidtron, I created a paint gun, or graffiti gun, however you want to look at it, and he not only uses it as a weapon, he competes with Squidman with his graffiti tactics. Next, we have Slizer. Slizer is a villain that I don't think gets as much attention as he deserves. He is a pretty unique guy overall, and I like his armored aesthetics. But for his upgrade, I decided to add more armor. I also added a utility belt. And my final finishing touch is an oversized claw piece used on his hand. I invented this claw design about 5 or 6 years ago, and this is the first time I am showing it to the general public. It is fairly easy to build this claw. First, you'll need a standard horn for your minifigure hand, and then you'll need a pair of binoculars with 2 more horns stuck into them. It might be a little tight connecting the binoculars, but to the best of my knowledge, this is still considered a legal building technique. Looks pretty terrifying, huh? This claw design will give the Space Police nightmares. Last but not least, we have Brick Daddy himself. Here's a pop quiz for you. Do you recognize the arms and legs? If so, there is a good chance you have seen the space creature from the collectible minifigure series. So what happened was I used Brick Daddy's original arms and legs as donor parts to make a purple classic space lady, and I took the arms and legs from the space creature and added them to Brick Daddy. And personally, I think they make him look pretty sharp. He looks a lot more like a criminal gang leader. And here's a quick bonus building idea. Brick Daddy's head came in a gold color as well from the Lunar Limo set, and I thought it'd be cool to make a gold statue of him. And that, my friends, is about it. Thank you so much for watching. Unfortunately, as you can see, I will be tied up the next couple of weeks thanks to Brick Daddy and his gang. So even though I won't be able to respond to your questions or comments for a little while, I have videos uploaded and ready for your enjoyment. Until then, my friends, have a great time and continue to build your universe.
If you ever want to see your YouTuber again, I am holding him ransom for an undisclosed number of likes and subscribers. So get liking and subscribing.